Story 1. Learn to do all the things I have been wanting to do, such as gardening, quilting, and making stained glass. Story 2. Long walks, working out, spending time with my husband watching movies and binge-watching television while everyone is at school. Then we enjoy family time, lovely holidays, and fun experiences together. Story 3. I would learn different languages and visit countries and places I only saw in pictures. I wish I had unlimited money. Story 4. I am giving everything I can to others. It would enhance my existence if I could truly improve the circumstances of others. Unfortunately, that often depends on time and money, both of which I lack. Story 5. Spending as much time outdoors as humanly possible. Exploring new places, learning new things, and reading. Story 6. I would attend school for the rest of my life, not necessarily to earn degrees, but simply to learn interesting things that I am passionate about. Story 7. That isn't something I know how to answer because money is a factor, so I spend most of my time thinking about it. If money were not a factor, I would need a couple of weeks of calm to discover what life is like when you don't have to worry about continuing to exist. Story 8. Live on a private island, work with a rescue animal shelter, help feed the homeless, and take care of the wise ones. Story 9. Disappear and travel from one rented, secluded compound to another. Explore independent designers to invest in for enjoyment. Story 10. I would be able to help more people, but otherwise I would be doing what I already do. Read tarot, practice Reiki, go for walks in the woods and on the beach, go swimming, go sledding, attend shows, enjoy a nice dinner out sometimes, volunteer, play dice, cards, and board games with my friends, perform at the Rocky Horror Picture Show, officiate weddings, and go on adventures to museums, amusement parks, and other fun places. Do not wait to live your life when you think you have the money or have the time. This is it. You are already making progress in the only life you will ever have. Live now. Story 11. Golf at the top 5 golf courses in 50 different countries. Spend a month there, golfing on weekends and being a tourist on weekdays. Story 12. I would build a comfortable home and facilities on a large piece of land to shelter all the abused animals I could. Story 13. I play tennis where my effort matters and I spend beautiful time with my dogs, as well as with friends and family. Story 14. Fulfilling my lifelong dream of being the affluent, enigmatic uncle who always seems to have just returned from an international adventure and only drinks champagne and eats caviar. Story 15. Besides planning a vacation, I would try new activities such as voice lessons or art classes, or I would return to hobbies I enjoy, like ultimate frisbee or roller skating. Story 16. I would hire someone to roll my cigars for me, while I decide where I want to spend my day relaxing and doing whatever I want to do. Story 17. Travel, start gardening, volunteer more, decorate my apartment the way I want, and maybe get a pet like a rabbit or a dog. Story 18. Riding my bike or being out in nature. Attending as many social events as I can handle, especially those where I can volunteer. Continuing to improve my physical and mental health. Winding down with a relaxing video game. Story 19. Same activities as now, but instead of working, I would be exercising. Children do limit opportunities for a life of adventure. Story 20. I love doing crafts, so I would get myself a studio for them all. Drawing, painting, jewelry making, crochet, and sewing are my favorites. I enjoy cosplaying and would attend many conventions. I would read numerous books and learn to play 1 or 2 instruments. I would travel to places I have been wanting to see and take road trips. I would have time to get my fitness in order and would be able to work out effectively with a home gym that is essentially a regular gym. Story 21. Build hospitals, schools, and other charitable institutions. Skydiving and base jumping also seem like a lot of fun. Story 22. Playing Warhammer 40,000 at the local game shop, buying the home of my dreams, and decorating a video game and hobby den in it, then tipping 1,000% in cash to food service workers. They aren't praised enough. Story 23. Hiking and taking pictures during the outings, then sleeping and having dinner with friends about 4 nights a week. Story 24. I travel frequently. When I'm not traveling, I enjoy walking my dog, hiking, reading, trying new restaurants, continuing to learn my second language, biking, and taking many naps. Story 25. I want to express that many of us can spend our days truly alive, but we make excuses or impose limitations that prevent us from doing so. Many people mention traveling. Why do you travel? To see new things or meet new people? Well, to feel truly alive, you can do those things now. Why does it have to be in Thailand? Visit a new coffee shop or try something different in your local area. Don't excuse yourself by saying that you can only experience this in a remote village in Peru. To someone far away, your town or nearby area might be an exotic place. If you seek new experiences from travel, find ways to create them regularly. It's about your attitude and taking control of your life now. Consider how to improve your mind and body so that you can make every day in your current life better. That's my perspective. This applies to other aspects of life as well, not just travel. I see suggestions here that are achievable. The real issue may be a reluctance to act. The problem lies with individuals, not societal issues like wealth. Story 26. Rest for a couple of weeks and travel for a couple of weeks. Attend different events while resting and experience attractions during your travels. Story 27. I would invest in a high-end PC and virtual reality setup. I really enjoyed it during COVID-19 with an Oculus Quest 1, but now I lack the time or energy after the workday is over. Story 28. I imagine my days being like the summer between middle school grades. We had a lot of independence and did whatever we wanted. We made plans, hung out, played games, hiked, swam, and skated. Story 29. I would go back to school for sciences, possibly marine science or geology. Those are my passion areas, but I couldn't figure out how to make them financially viable. Story 30. I would settle in a place with great weather, right on the water, and fish every day at sunrise. I hope to enjoy good health and frequently host family and friends. I plan to travel 3 to 4 times a year and be in the front row for any desired sporting events. Story 31. I enjoy traveling and dining at drive-ins and diners. However, knowing myself, I will likely spend a significant amount of time playing Minecraft or Balatro. Oh, I can do that while on a plane ride to Australia or Europe. Story 32. Non-stop traveling, I would probably spend a couple of months in that specific country, depending on how much I loved it. Story 33. Take care of cats, including mothers with kittens, disabled cats, and senior cats at the end of their lives. I would love to foster cats when I get older. Story 34. Just travel, go to school, and travel some more. I want to experience all I can in this existence. Story 35. I often think about this. If I had enough money, I wouldn't work. Here's how my days would go. I would wake up at 6:30 to get the kids ready for school. After dropping them off, I would come home and walk the dog. Then I would go to the gym with other moms and get back home before lunch. I would run daily errands and prepare a fantastic dinner after having lunch. I would engage in a hobby until the kids come home from school and then get dinner ready. Before dinner, I would pack a bowl, and after dinner, I would pack 2 bowls. I would get the kids ready for bed in a great mood and watch a little TV when they go to sleep. Story 36. Lead a meaningful existence, spend more time with family, read, play video games, travel, help wherever I can, plant trees, clean the ocean, and put out fires. Story 37. I would wake up and do whatever I chose to do in that moment. True freedom to act on a whim, that is living. Story 38. I would hire help to clean my house, a nanny to watch my baby, and a pet sitter to care for my 2 small pets. I would book a vacation to Hawaii. I would get my friend out of jail who has been in there too long for an accidental nonviolent crime, and I would buy him a car. I would also buy my significant other a car and tell him to drive away and not come back until he pays me back for that dinner he promised to cover. He tipped $11, used my card, and never reimbursed me. I would buy myself a blue, green, or pink Subaru Forester, and I would get a friend to travel with me across America to find my dream home. Once I had a stable home in a nice city or countryside, I would pursue my 2 dreams of opening a meditation studio and a music-themed health food cafe. I would plan to vacation around the world, aiming to visit at least 5 new places a year, with a few on the same trip. At least once a year, I would visit a very fancy restoration spa. One of my goals is to experience every amazing water slide in the world. I would also visit spiritual places because I am a healer, and that is an important part of my spiritual growth. I believe in mermaids, and I would love to search for one. If I had to choose between finding a mermaid and getting rich, I think I would choose wealth, but why not both? Story 39. Traveling in a nice camper, working on project cars and driving them, improving my train layout, possibly acquiring a real bay window caboose for my layout and spending time with my partner. Story 40. I would build parks, libraries, campgrounds, and public gardens, spaces for people to enjoy. I would grow food and give it away to those in need. I would organize community block parties to encourage people to leave their homes and connect with one another again. Story 41. I would wake up at 7 every morning, make a large breakfast consisting of an omelet with freshly ground coffee, fresh fruit, Greek yogurt, and toast with butter. I would go for a long, barefoot walk in my fields, as I would live on a farm, and let my 3 dogs run around freely, occasionally throwing a ball. I would FaceTime my sister to see what she and her family were doing for the day. Afterward, I would do some yoga, weightlifting, and meditation before taking a long shower. I would then go to my art studio, a separate building on my property, and continue painting, sculpting, drawing, or whatever came to me for a couple of hours. After that, I would return to the main house, make some tea, and sit down with the dogs to watch a movie. I would prepare dinner early at 5 p.m. so I could eat it slowly while reading a good book. At night, I would go outside to relax in the hot tub, lying back and staring at the stars for a while. Finally, I would come inside, get ready for bed, and spend some time with the dogs before drifting off to sleep. Story 42. Sharing this freedom by teaching everyone to fish or ensuring everyone has a fish to eat is essential. We all deserve it, and I am tired of the selfishness in the world. Let us stop being unkind to each other. If you feel like you are about to act unkindly, pause, raise your hand, and ask for help. Together, we can support one another because we have all faced challenges. We can overcome this together. Story 43. Exploring means traveling and visiting nearby places I've never been to, discovering new things in general. Story 44. Rent a jet and fly as a pilot to anywhere in the world. Walk out of the jet and rent a car to travel. Return to the airport with a fully fueled jet and grab a burger before flying home. Story 45. I would spend my free time doing interesting activities with friends, mostly traveling. I truly want to engage in fun experiences with enjoyable company. Story 46. I would move to Japan and lead a happy, simpler life. I might open a small taco shop, visit the local bookstores and tech stores, go home to my wife and daughter, and watch some lighthearted game shows while enjoying some steaming hot ramen. Story 47. I would defeat my enemies and then fund and lead programs for my local community. Story 48. The same as I do now, without the job hunting aspect and without the stress that accompanies it and comes from the lack of money. So it would be primarily gym and books, along with some side hobbies and a lot of learning. Story 49. In the summer, buy a large motorhome and hire 2 to 3 compatible drivers to travel around North America. In the winter, visit the warm beaches around the world. Story 50. Build the most capable 4x4 Econoline camper van possible and explore the wilderness of the world. Visit every national park, view every mountain peak, and spend mornings by lakes that are miles from any town or establishment, all under a canopy of stars. Nature truly invigorates me, and I never get tired of it. Story 51. I would travel around and choose a random person each day, paying them to let me accompany them in whatever they do. I would interact with other tourists, locals, and people with unique jobs. I would move from group to group, like a nomadic explorer of human experience, skipping to the next individual or group when I get bored. Story 52. Purchase a seat on a racing team during the weekends and assist those in need as much as possible during the week. Story 53. I want to do anything other than what I am doing now. Essentially, I would quit my job and stop making someone else rich while feeling miserable and living paycheck to paycheck. Story 54. I would buy a little cabin by a lake and relax on the dock, feeling the wind. I like to stay busy, so after that, I would do many other things. Story 55. I spent a couple of years immersed in music training. I play guitar and sing, but I am self-taught and recognize my shortcomings. I would love to truly learn to play and improve my skills. Story 56. I would hire a personal trainer and a dietitian to help me go from my maximum weight of 400 pounds to 220 pounds. I would also consider skin reduction surgery and focus on getting fit so I can travel without hassle like I used to before COVID-19 turned my life upside down. Story 57. In the mornings, I would wake up with my wife before the kids and we would be intimate. After that, when they all woke up, we'd make breakfast together. Once breakfast was done, we'd let the kids play outside for a bit while my wife and I worked out. Since money isn't a factor, we live on a lot of land for the kids to explore, and I have a world-class home gym. After our second workout of the day and after the kids burned off some energy, I would get some work done while my wife taught the kids the first half of their school day. Then the kids would take a break and we would make lunch using food we grow ourselves and livestock we maintain, ensuring they eat healthy. After lunch, my wife and I would swap roles. I would teach them the second half of their lessons while she worked. We have an excellent homeschooling setup because, again, money isn't a factor, and our work is a passion project. My wife is a musician, so we write music, work on the land, and handle housework and yard work to keep everything in order. By the time work was caught up for the day and the kids had completed their lessons, we would call the neighbors for a playdate. Since money isn't a factor, our home is the cool place to be, and we love hosting. As the day turned into evening, the kids continued playing outside while my wife and I worked on preparing dinner. We had the windows open and music playing throughout the house. We shared our experiences from the day, discussing any challenges we faced and working through them together. We enjoyed a beautiful meal, and when their parents picked up their kids, we invited them in for a drink while the children played some more. When it was time to leave, all the kids were wiped out, and either my wife or I would tell them bedtime stories, taking turns each night. Once they were fast asleep, my wife and I would get ready for bed, read our books, and then head to bed ourselves. That's the kind of day that makes me truly feel alive. Story 58. Waking up at 9 o'clock or 9:30 a.m. Workout or dance at 11:30 a.m. Swimming at 12:30 p.m. Lunch at 1:30 p.m. Watch TV shows for a couple of hours. Play video games for a couple of hours. Dinner around 8 p.m. More video games or going out for a movie. Fall asleep watching a sitcom at 1 a.m. Story 59. I would be through hiking and introducing backpacking to underprivileged individuals. I would spend time studying the Torah and being with my community. Instead, I work all the time, feeling like a fool. Story 60. Travel. But not just regular travel. You know, in books and movies where people wander around the United States or Europe. I would do that, but with more money, I would just live comfortably. A few weeks in Buenos Aires, a month in Tokyo, maybe half a year in Amsterdam, and so on. Perhaps I would even work some odd jobs just for fun and to immerse myself more. Story 61. I was fortunate enough to have this for about 2 years at one point. The best answer is simply doing whatever you want. Any day. Sometimes it was traveling. Other times it was barbecuing with my friends. Occasionally, I enjoyed being lazy, playing video games, or just relaxing at the beach. The freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want, is the best way to feel truly alive, in my opinion. Story 62. Pack my backpack and travel. I will never look back or return. Once I have enough, I will get a house somewhere and relax. Story 63. Travel with my wife and kids, play golf and pickleball to stay active, garden on quiet days, and cook dinner while watching series with my wife on calm evenings. Story 64. I would rescue dogs and cats and possibly help other people as well. I believe making a difference in the lives of others would make me feel alive and fulfilled. Story 65. A combination of traveling, learning an instrument, and collecting items. I could probably start my own museum if money were no object. Oh, and a collection of cars like Jay Leno's. Story 66. Money is not a factor. I am comfortable in life. I just choose not to do anything. Depression does not care how much money you have. I spend most of my time with my dog or working on projects around the house and yard. Story 67. Around family, giving them the life experiences they have never had. For example, I would take my grandfather to his first Dodgers game. Story 68. Up north on the lake, enjoying fresh morning coffee with my line in the water as the fog lifts would be perfect for me. Story 69. Probably a mix of Dungeons and Dragons, Magic, The Gathering, and small projects. Making things just because. Maybe something will be useful, but mostly it is to practice and learn new skills in an applied manner. Story 70. A lawn party with a grill, fireplace, and my kids running around playing while I do some cooking. I am that simple. Story 71. I would go to the veterans of foreign wars and the American Legion. I would keep the wells pumping and get to know those who paved the way to where I stand today. Story 72. Travel and relax without any money worries or bills. There are no responsibilities in my life that cannot be solved with money. I can do whatever I want, and the thought of that is absolutely freeing. Story 73. Something for an older me is to travel and talk to different people. There are archetypes, and I have noticed some people seem similar to others, like variants. Story 74. I will attend college for subjects that interest me. Cooking school is definitely one, and I will also pursue veterinary studies. I may not be the smartest, but with unlimited resources, I can take my time and retake courses if necessary. Story 75. Romario plays footvolley, soccer, and volleyball with the boys by the beach every day. I enjoy spending time with my kids and watching movies in the cinema. I love the cinema. Story 76. Live on a nice plot of land with a pool, start a garden, invest in wargaming, and make my own cured and smoked meats. Story 77. I make art, ride motorcycles, hike, swim, rock climb, spend time with friends and family, enjoy tasty food, play music and sing, garden, pet my dog, and love my girlfriend. Fortunately, I get paid to make art. The rest is just bonus fun. Story 78. Get flight lessons and a pilot's license, starting with a propeller aircraft and then transitioning to high-performance jets. Purchase a hangar, a jet, and all necessary tools for maintenance, and learn to maintain it. Catch me flying all around the world, experiencing diverse cultures and cuisines. Story 79. Having lived in various cities my entire life, I wish to work for myself and have my own farm filled with animals, where I can grow my own vegetables and source dairy products like milk and eggs. I envision a farmhouse on my own land, surrounded by animals in a beautiful countryside away from the bustling city. Story 80. Buy a nice home in Tokyo and travel around Japan with a golden retriever. I am not interested in visiting other parts of the world. Story 81. I would spend time outside drawing, writing, meditating, and focusing more on voice acting. If I could be a speaker for a living. Story 82. Mountain biking, long-distance bike packing, and touring through hiking are activities I want to pursue. There are many routes I would like to explore, but unfortunately, I can't find the time off from work. Story 83. There is no point in thinking about that. I was born poor and I will die poor. I will always need money, and I will never have enough. Story 84. Well, realistically, assuming this scenario, the only way money isn't a factor for me is if you are super rich. If that is the case, I would use the wealth for the betterment of my fellow humans. Story 85. Attending Skrillex's music festivals and spending time with him and his team. Traveling in Japan and trying Chankonabe. Story 86. Not many people know this, but training for an Ironman is extremely expensive and time-consuming. To train properly, you need to earn over $100,000 a year while only working 20 hours a week. If I had the time and money, I would definitely be training for an Ironman. Story 87. I would live so differently. I would probably stop using alarms for good. I would wake up slowly, maybe with the sun peeking through the window and some good music playing softly. There would be no rush, just an easy start to the day. Then I would spend the rest of the day pursuing curiosity and traveling, not the fancy resort type, but the kind that involves staying in tiny villages and meeting people. I would want to feel the real rhythm of each place, help harvest olives in Greece, take a writing class in Paris, and learn to surf in Costa Rica. Story 88. Probably by starting a construction company or a fabrication shop. I love to work, but I dislike working for others. Story 89. I would still probably be flying. I am a pilot at a struggling regional airline. I will be furloughed by the end of May, and hiring is very slow at the moment for various reasons. If I had enough money for the rest of my days, I would probably still look for a flying job. I won't say I was born for it because I struggled during training, and nobody is born for it. Nothing in the past couple of million years of human evolution has prepared anyone to be naturally good at controlling a 26-ton chunk of burning aluminum hurtling through the sky. However, it's something I know I can do, something I know I am finally good at, something that I fought hard to achieve, and something that is helpful. Story 90. Experiencing many things while traveling, spending time with friends, family, and interesting strangers. Studying niche subjects that I enjoy without worrying about making money. Writing my travel blog for fun and creating artwork inspired by my travels. Engaging in nature and environmental protection projects around the world. I have so many hobbies. Owning beautiful homes in my favorite places and decorating them as I wish. It's wonderful to dream. Story 91. Travel is definitely one thing, but I also want to address the issues related to private prison companies that exploit labor. Once I significantly impact the private prison industry, I will focus on implementing reforms and increasing programs that benefit both those incarcerated and animals in need, similar to the Meow Mates and Mutt Mates programs, which are excellent for rehabilitation. Additionally, I will launch initiatives to combat human trafficking to further disrupt that industry. I plan to make substantial changes to the infrastructure and reduce crime in the United States. Then I will vacation in Italy. Story 92. Traveling the world to learn about different customs and discover hidden gems known only to locals is a rewarding experience. Unfortunately, my current travels are limited by a budget and time constraints, leaving little opportunity for exploration. Story 93. I would read, cook meals for friends, have get-togethers, play video games, spend time with my cats, go on fun dates, and work only on things I enjoy. I love crafting and trying out new activities. Once or twice a year, I travel for a week or so to explore new places. This is the dream. Story 94. I would probably do 3 things. Travel with the people I care about. Spend time with the people I care about doing activities we mutually enjoy, such as hobbies and sports. Help people and the community. Story 95. Hike, fish, and garden. Travel occasionally. Take college classes. I would do some job hopping to learn new skills. Story 96. Decent house with a pool and a pool house that can be used as an art studio. The basement will be converted into a music studio. I would embrace a full bohemian artist lifestyle. Story 97. I would ride my motorcycle far from here. Since money is not a factor, I will probably be doing that on foot. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.